Sarah from sarayip.com and Facebook The Numbers Queen and Instagram sarayip1111 here for my weekly aloha. Let me just check out that I've got all my stuff set up. Looks like I do. So thanks for joining me tonight. If you're watching the replay or live, very, very grateful to have you on board. It's been a fairly intense and big week. In fact, it was such a big week that my picture fell down. So I am currently sitting on the floor. And perhaps that's what we all need right now, is actually to get a lot more grounded and a lot more back to our roots and to the magical power of our bodies and to the fact that nothing can truly hurt us at an energetic level. So let's talk about the themes. I basically predicted my own week last week. Perhaps I should have listened to myself a little more closely. So as it turns out, I fell out of the sky. I did a spiritual money webinar, and that was a hairy topic for me to be talking on, as you can imagine, highly emotional and very pertinent to my life path, being a life path 11-2, doing a lot of healing around sex and money and intimacy. So yeah, the workshop went really well. We talked a lot about how to discern between financial freedom and financial abuse. It's not a topic that a lot of people talk about, but it's so important. It's probably holding you back. So obviously you have things like emotional abuse, you have physical abuse, but there's also these subtle things like spiritual abuse where you're not allowed to follow your beliefs. Like people will mock you if you try to go to the courses you want to go to, or you want to meditate, or you want some sacred time. And then, of course, financial abuse, it's this massive topic. So, for example, repeated messaging that you have to have a certain type of job or a certain type of lifestyle, people not pulling their weight in your household, refusing to work, belittling you. It's really a big topic. And did you know 99% of domestic violence involves financial abuse as well? So I guess the reason I bring this up, I'm about to bring out my replay on this class. It's a 3.5-hour replay, very profound. It's got 4 completely unique meditations. It was created with the help of about 50 amazing people. Thank you everyone who came. Unless you can call it out, you're not going to find that financial peace within yourself. You need to know how to identify that financial vampirism. So that's what the course is about. And it's just, it'll be very cathartic, I think, for me to release it and to get some feedback on it. So many of us have been told who we're allowed to connect with in our lives. There's such a massive link between sexual and financial freedom. There's so many people who frown upon having multiple options or doing your research. They think you should just basically get it right the first time, have one job for life, one marriage for life. And that's just not realistic when you're a highly conscious soul. We know that once you get to that stage of development, people, jobs, opportunities come in for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. You cycle very quickly. So that's the whole 11-11 awakening, is moving away from this one-size-fits-all approach to life to allowing people to have a basket or ecosystem of options. So after I taught that class, it was quite a long class. Actually, I managed to paralyze myself. And I was tossing up whether to tell you on this, because I know a lot of people watch this call. But I think it's really important that you sometimes see me fail, because otherwise there's not a lot of authenticity to this whole experience. And I am all about you having a realistic understanding of what awakening entails. So for me to light wash out the messy bits would be to do you a massive disservice and actually to not be a responsible teacher, mentor, or coach. So for 24 hours after the class, I couldn't move my arms. I actually had to get people in just to look after the kids, wash the dishes, hang the laundry, do transcripts. I had to make a lot of very rapid phone calls, and I was grateful, in fact, that I had those people on call. And more than that, I needed to take a day or two for some very intense clearing, which I did. I had a network treatment on my spine. I cried about a year's worth of tears. And I just identified that this was this massive theme that we're all going through. As you know, 2020 is about healing the heart chakra. The heart includes the heart, the lungs, the immune system. It includes also the arms and the hands. So I was aware that given there's only a month left of this heart chakra healing year, this is when things would hit the fan. And I suppose for me that class brought it up because there was a lot there about forgiving and releasing and completing. So I did have some healings. I had some friends come over for dinner, and amazingly, the next day I was fine. It's basically what I wanted to share with you. So as you move along the path of awakening and consciousness, or if you want to call it enlightenment, there's that beautiful Zen saying, before enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. And I guess I would adapt to say, before enlightenment, have issues and ask for help. And after enlightenment, have issues and ask for help. The only difference, I think, is in how quickly you ask for help, and the fact that you ask for the help that is balanced rather than putting you back into a place of victimization. So I just wanted to share with you that I did have this massive fail, and I'm not ashamed of it. I actually am kind of proud of myself that I found this whole next level of being. And I want to thank everyone who helped me through it. I actually found by posting about this on the page, The Numbers Queen, and my social media, a lot of people sent me private messages and healing, and it made a difference. It really does. Once you have the courage to put yourself out there on a blog, video channel, whatever, there's a lot of focus on how can I convert that to sales, or how can I turn that into money, and that's great, and I talk about that in my webinar. But what I also talk about is that every time someone connects with you and they get a warm fuzzy feeling, or they stay up late, or they recommend you to a friend, it puts little tokens in your goodwill account. And at times, like when you accidentally paralyze yourself, going through a spiritual crisis, that stuff is the most important, not money in the bank. So I'm super grateful to everyone who helped me in my time of need. What else do I want to talk about? I think you can all feel how much this is activating, can't you? People are very much vocalizing where they're at. It's all just coming out as big blurts. This is a great thing because when it's out in the open, it can be healed, it can be exorcised, I suppose you could say. Expect yourself to be more confident going into the next year. You've basically been through hell, haven't we all? And I think it was the quote by Winston Churchill, if you're going through hell, just keep going. I guess you could also compare it to a collective dark night of the soul, which I've always thought was a reference to being born. And all I can say is there's no going back. The mother won't have that. She's not interested in having an infinite pregnancy. So the only way is forwards. The only way is forwards. So I hope that made a little bit of sense. I basically am saying that it's okay to fall down. It's okay to fall down. That's why they have that saying, fall down 7 times, get up 8. And just allow yourself, if you need to call in the troops, call in the reinforcements, and as much as you need. Because I can tell you, most of the people on this call, you give a lot more than you realize. Every time you think kindly of someone, every time you take a moment to breathe with someone, every time you smile at a picture, you're sending energy out. And so don't be afraid to call it back in. It's only fair. You don't want to leave everyone permanently in your debt. That's why I say there's no such thing as free, There's no such thing as free. It's better to charge what things are worth rather than leave everyone walking around with those little energetic ledgers. So if you've got any questions for today, especially around spirituality and money, charging what you're worth, that kind of thing, happy to do a little bit on today's call because I don't have as much to personally share. So if you've got some questions in that area, feel free to shoot. This is one of your chances to do it. I'll probably do it for the next couple of weeks until I get that replay up. So anything around spirituality and money, and numerology is a fantastic way to heal your relationship with money, because numerology is basically looking at money from the other side of the mirror. Do you know what I mean? Numerology is incredibly intuitive and creates compassion and love and forgiveness and bridges in the world. So it's this original way of using numbers as a healing medicine. And when you learn numerology, whether you're following my page or listening to these forecasts, part of you is actually healing your impression of the universe. And all I can say is it can easily turn into abundance, because you'll see that numbers are just basically like little smiley faces from the universe going, hey, can't get to you right now, but here's a digital hug. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the tarot for the next week, and like I said, I'm going to pay a bit more attention to what I say this time. So for the next 7 days, what are the energies we'll all be traversing, especially people watching, because this is specifically channeled for you. What are the energies? So the first one is the Two of Cups. I love this card very much. This cup is about meeting your soulmate, meeting your soulmate. And a lot of people are starting to realize that within them is a soulmate. One of the meditations I did in my money class was meeting your other self, the other part of you. You know, like if you feel like you're impoverished, meeting the abundant part. If you feel like you're a worrywart, meeting the super calm and serene part. Because here's the thing, you can't exist by yourself in that dimension. You are a complete soul energy. So even if it does take a bit of effort to call that other part back in, it's worth it. So we're going to be reminded in the next 7 days that we are everything, and that it's our choice to see ourselves as 3D or one-dimensional. I think you'll also find there's a lot of love around, there's a lot of sweetness, there's a lot of appreciation for those who are there for us in our time of need. The next card is the Magician card. I love this card very much. This is a lot about alchemy, turning lead into gold. It's about pulling rabbits out of hats. It's about surprising yourself. What I'm suggesting is in the next 7 days, do something that you've always wanted to do. If you want to share what that is in the comments, I'd love to know. Just to let you know, I read all the comments. I reply to them as much as I can as well, even if it's not the same day as the forecast. So there's no time like the present. We've had a year which has reminded us that life waits for no one. And we're only ever, a moment away from going to the next dimension. So what would you like to start this week that you've always wanted to do? It could be the most mundane little thing. It could be crochet. It could be ice skating. It could be changing the world. That's not so mundane. But this is the time. There's this really beautiful blast of new beginnings energy coming through. And I think you'll be proud of yourself if you start something this week, even if it's small. The last card, we've had this before. It is one of my favorite cards. The Six of Wands. Now, I'm pretty sure we got this last week. So the universe essentially is being incredibly consistent and helpful. Don't you love that? And it is again saying that we have reached a turning point in consciousness, and we should all be really, really proud of ourselves. We have discovered that we can fly. And yes, it's true, some people will choose to avoid that. They will choose to keep, I suppose, crawling around and bumping their head on rocks. And you can't help them. No point lending them your dragon. Your dragon will just get annoyed. So be yourself, go higher, inspire them through what you do next. I think I might have mentioned previously, I don't know if it was on these forecasts, a lot of people, especially with the finance stuff, they're very frightened of outdoing their parents. There's something here like, if I outdo my parents, I'll lose them. They won't love me. It's just not cool, to make them look smaller. But what if you flip that around? So this is something I learned in family constellations a long time ago. And what if you honored them by going far beyond the bar that they have set? What if you honored them by really not only standing on their shoulders, but jumping off into new dimensions from their shoulders? Yes, at the physical level, they might seem jealous or petty or squeamish, but I can tell you at the soul level, they'll be wildly applauding you. It'll be a standing ovation, golden buzzer. So just flipping that around, like I said, if you've always found that you just can never quite go beyond what your parents have achieved, what if you honored them in a different way? at a soul level. That would be cool, wouldn't it? Let's look at the questions and see what you've got for me. Okay, so just give me a sec while I have a quick look through. All right, so here we are. A lot of people are crying. Yes, I've noticed that. I even went to the hospital for my baby appointment and I saw people crying in the car park, and I really felt for them, but as I said, my arms were paralyzed, so there wasn't much I could do. I had to take painkillers just to drive, but I sent them my love. And I feel like a lot of us are releasing, and you know what we're moving from? We're moving from fight, flight, or freeze back into flow. Doesn't that feel good, even just to say that? You could even just say that I'm moving back into flow. I am flow. I am the flowering. Okay, so what else have I got? So I've got some questions. People are saying things like, I love to spend money. It goes out so quickly. I would question that thought. I love to spend money. Sometimes what we say is a little bit of like a makeup over what's really going on. So I would just play with that. You know, you could play with like, I love to spend money in one column and where that's true, and I hate to spend money and where that's true. One of the principles I work with when we're trying to get people back into balance energetically is, you know, your bank balance, your money balance really does show how much time, energy, and money you invest in your dreams and your purpose versus other people's. And as much as it's really delicious and exciting to invest in other people's purpose and see the glow, if you're investing in other people and paying for things from a place of impoverishment, it's kind of like, because money has the same vibration as hair, right? It's kind of like if I cut off my hair so that you can feel less bald. It doesn't feel that clean. And so all I'm saying, at some point, maybe we can find that actually there's that need to walk the talk first. And look, it is fun to spend money, but it's even more fun to spend money when you know there's sort of plenty of it. It's just got a completely different vibration. Does that make sense? And that's actually the reason I usually encourage people, for example, to pay me by bank transfer than credit card, things like that. There's a really different vibration. But thank you for asking, and it was a good point. Okay, what else have I got? Okay, so some people have said, look, what if I'm not attracting and receiving money because of contracts in the past? Again, I do address this in my webinar. It's true. I believe in past lives because I've been through my own. I've also gone right through this one to my last day and beyond. And that's a really good exercise if you want to get into, you know, really healing at a deep level. So yes, it's true. You could have taken some vows of poverty. That is a real thing. Where, for example, you had a master, you're in a monastery or nunnery, and you agreed that everything you made would always go to that person or that entity. So for some of us, for whatever reason, we may not have cleared that by the time we come into this body. So I suppose you could say it's sort of, you know, like an unpaid student debt, something like that. Here's the good news. You brought it into that reality and existence through usually some sort of spoken prayer, some sort of incantation, usually signing. There'll have been some kind of signing. But here's the thing, if you can do it through that, you can undo it through that. So whether you want to research that or get a little bit of specialized assistance, for example, from a psychic, it can be undone. It's really very much like a knot. You know, even if the knot was done 500 years ago, isn't it true? With a little bit of effort, you could undo it. And we've also invented scissors. Just saying, if you can bring it in, you can get it out. Please don't be scared. All right, last couple of things. Some people are saying they're going to take singing lessons. That's cool. I like that. What else? We've got a few more people who are worried. What has happened? There's a few people who have to suddenly deal with a drop of income and employment. Look, I'm not doing personal coaching. I can certainly recommend my money webinar coming out soon. But just big picture, which might help, is write down the hardest things you've ever gone through, like the 10 top doozies or, you know, like nightmares that you've gone through, and maybe the 10 best things you've had. And like you could actually create what we call almost like a curve or a line, and just feel into, is this on par with the worst thing that's ever happened, or is it somewhere towards the middle? I get the impression it's not quite the worst thing that's ever happened. So if you just look at what did it take to get through those nightmares, you know, who were the people who were there for you? What were the techniques that worked? If it worked once, it'll work again. You're the same person, the same human being. Go back to what worked last time you were in the plot hole. And I hope that will give you somewhere to be. I just get the impression, I know you've been having some employment issues, but understand it's probably not the worst thing you've ever come through. And sometimes we need to put it in a bit of perspective. You're a strong and amazing being. You can totally do this. Okay, last couple of questions before I start winding up tonight. Lots of people wanting to launch online courses and groups. Well, yeah, this is the perfect time. The throat chakra has a lot to do with technology and promotion, literally, of like, you know, letting ourselves beam out as frequency into the universe instead of having to be there and exchange time for money. So in my 2021 forecast, coming up on the 3rd of Jan, I'll talk about this a lot. That bookings will open soon. So you can basically work from energy. I shouldn't actually touch that part, but energy in terms of you have to do everything. Everything has to be, you know, physical and manual, to frequency, where you basically literally transmit. And if you study the people who are making a lot of difference in your life and other people's lives, most of them are working at frequency. So what is a good example of that? You know, give me an example, Sarah. Energy. Every time you want to cheer someone up, you go up to their house and you do like a chicken singogram. I don't know why chickens, you know, I love chicken. I just love random analogies. And you dress up as a chicken and you like cheer them up and you do a chicken singogram. That will work, but that's definitely energy. Just trying to get the rubber suit on, right? What would be frequency? You know, sending a meme or having a channel of that and basically duplicating the experience, filming it, for example, that would turn it into frequency. And it's just, you know, it's energy efficient. Some people are going to make a vision board. That's perfect. What else have we got? Lots of people are saying they do feel like they're in flow now. Yeah, look, all I'm saying with the zero bank balance, I've absolutely been there. And all I can say is it is just a little bit like a car fuel tank. It doesn't mean that, you know, your car is at the end of its life. It just means in that particular area, there's been a lot of focus on traveling and moving and getting places. And so as soon as you start, you know, taking some time, slowing down, you realize that you are the source of your own wealth. That's why they call it wealthy, the well. You are the well. So I often say when people are struggling with a zero bank balance, it's the most important time to meditate, to do self-care, and to sleep. Sleep is massive. When we don't sleep, our health goes out of whack, and there's a lot of stuff that can happen, especially worry about money. Okay. I've got a couple more questions that I'll need to wind up. Someone's asked, what if you have a fear of earning more than your siblings and losing them? I've got a quote on that. I'm just trying to think of what it is. I'm pretty sure this is the quote. Those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. If you look up my Facebook posts from the last few days, I've been very candid. I've had some people in my family group say some pretty mean things to me about my pregnancy. And I've realized that I let them do it because they have family after their name. And that's no longer good enough. There's got to be a point where you break away from that childish loyalty and you truly protect yourself and your future self and your those around you. So all I'm suggesting is those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. That's all I can say. I hope that helps. Last couple of things. Somebody's asking about their daughter, who's a 15-6. So this person is already over 15. So you might want to look at what actually she decided to do at 15, because it sounds like she probably already knows her purpose. And in terms of getting motivated to find a job, I can only suggest just be really gentle there. Because remember, I talked a lot about financial trauma, and we all have a job. Our job is to be alive. That's a really important job. So sometimes we have that job and we also have another job, which is earning external money. And sometimes we just have to focus on being alive. And that in itself is a powerful healing and a powerful job. You can teach a lot by triggering people. So I'm just going to suggest your daughter is a 15/6. She's here to open minds and help us to think the big picture. So just have a feel into what happened at 15, or even ask her. She could even look up my site around lifepath 6. Last couple of people, someone had a dream about me. That would be the frequency working. Last couple of things. Yeah, look, there's some interesting questions here. I don't know how well I can answer them because I'm about to wind up. Obviously, a lot of you have heard about Qantas. Qantas being visited by, well, what some people are saying, being visited by the government and then choosing to make that big announcement about vaccinations. Look, I'm a scientist and I try to keep some of my views private, as you can imagine, because it can get pretty hairy pretty fast. But what I would say is sometimes we need to learn through those types of experiences. So for example, it's only when they shut down the music that we realize how much we value the musicians. You know, there's a way that humans learn, which is through direct experience, and I suppose you could say pain. I'm personally not feeling that every airline will go into that direction. As you would know, people are at different levels of consciousness. So all I can say is, yeah, Qantas is saying this, but you know, the people who love them will just keep going, and the people who don't, we're probably moving on anyway. And yeah, that's probably where I stand on that issue. So it doesn't frighten me, honestly. I don't get easily frightened these days. I'm around people every single day who are conquering their fears, and I very much believe in the power of even just one person to completely change reality and the future of the planet. So it doesn't scare me. You still have absolute free will. What you're going to do? It's possible. And we also, like I said, we're going into a 5-year where lots of people will be vocalizing. So all I'm saying is don't give up. Don't give up. Okay, last couple of things. Yeah, people are just saying thank you. So look, I'm super grateful to have the opportunity to talk to you like this each week. I'm sorry it's been a bit of a ramble today, but I'm sure that you got something from it, because that's how this kind of thing works. I just turn up in trust. So just remember, we're all moving away from fight, flight, or freeze into flow. And I hope that will get you through the next week. I look forward to seeing you in another week. Between now and then, I am doing my next stand-up comedy course. So stay tuned for some interesting fun making soon to come on my YouTube channel. And that is all part of me finding my voice. So thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to influence and hopefully transform and heal. I'm so deeply grateful to all of you. This is Sarah from sarayip.com, Facebook The Numbers Queen, and Instagram sarayip1111, signing off. And just a tiny little reminder that if you want to support my work, especially as I go on maternity leave soon, please check out my Patreon community, patreon.com sarayip1111. There's still an opportunity to join from $5 US a month. For a couple more months, then it'll go up to a basic level of $20. We have Q&As a lot. We have a beautiful Facebook group, hundreds of amazing people, and you just won't find anything like it. So please have a look, and if it's not for you, consider sharing it with someone else, because that's how we'll get the word out. Okay, good luck everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.